Hello, and welcome to the Rockies Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, RT, episode 9 of the Rockies Hockey Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me here today as I talk about hockey and the Calgary Flames. Thanks so much to everyone who's checked out previous episodes on this channel. For the podcast, I really do hope you enjoyed them, and it's greatly appreciated that you checked them out. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Episode 9. Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers in round 2. Battle of Alberta happening right now. And so it's Sunday morning-ish, midday-ish for me. Game starts in a few hours. Game 3 starts in a few hours, Battle of Alberta. I think it's pretty early. It's earlier than usual today. And Flames will face off against the Oilers for Game 3 series, tied 1-1. And the last week of hockey has been, and I'm pretty stressed out, pretty full of a lot of anxiety for this one. And rightly so, I would say, because this has not been a calm series to watch for me as a Flames fan. It's been pretty turbulent, considering the fact that we've blown 2 big leads over this series. One, like a 4-goal lead in Game 1 and a 2-goal lead in Game 2, which caused us to lose that game in Game 2. Yeah, regardless, I want to go back to the past week of hockey. So Game 7 against the Stars. Oh, what a game! What a game! Game 1 against the Oilers. Oh my God, that one. And Game 2 against the Oilers. And then obviously we'll be talking about a few of the trophies, the Selke and the Jack Adams, whose the nominations were revealed over the past week. And I really do want to talk about them, because there's people from the Flames in both of them. In both nominees lists. And then I think I'll just be touching on my thoughts on the Stockton Heat, but not too much. Okay, so what do I think? Well, I guess we should just get started. Let's get into this. Game number 7. And to start talking about Game 7 against the Dallas Stars, let's travel back in time a week. Because for me at least, and I'm sure there are people out there, to you, dear listener, who might agree, that the past 2 games of the Battle of Alberta have caused a lot of other thoughts, a lot of other emotions, and we've sort of pushed, at least me, I've pushed this Game 7 out of my mind. And I'm so kind of I've just forgotten my happiness that I had when we won Game 7 and Gaudreau scored that OT winner. I've pushed all that away from my mind, and I've kind of just been like negative about the entire Battle of Alberta series. So I want to go back in time, mentally, put myself in a back in time state of mind, and even actually watch some of the OT winner and the selling and all that from that game earlier this morning, just to put myself back in that position after Game 7, so I can kind of just talk about it from that perspective. I did say I might make like a little bit of like a personal recording of just my thoughts after Game 7, whether the Flames win or lose that game. I didn't do that, unfortunately, so I do apologize, and that was just because it was really late at night, and I had school the next day, and so I just couldn't stay up more and record more stuff, and then I hope you all understand, but I'm gonna try to put myself back in that position. What a game. What a game. I mean, I'm just gonna jump straight to the OT winner. Dude, Gaudreau scored that goal, and I was so happy. I was sitting in my chair, right? Lindholm puts a shot on goal, and Ottinger stops, and I'm like, oh my God. I put my head down, I'm wearing my Flames hat, so I kind of just tip it down a little bit for a sec. Oh my God, how are we gonna beat Ottinger? And the next thing I know, it's Gaudreau scores, and I'm like, what? And I stand up so hard, my hand hits both where I'm sitting, my chair, and the remote's beside me, and I hit the remote and changes the channel to something else. I'm like, oh my God. And then everyone's like, what are you doing, RT? And so I quickly changed it back to the channel, and Gaudreau scored. I'm like, oh my God, we won the series. So first I'm selling, I'm really, really loud, really, really, really happy, as one might imagine. And then I just kind of lay on, just sit down on the ground. I'm like, oh my God. And then I have tears in my eyes, I'm kind of crying. It's oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And again, as a Flames fan, when I've really been to hockey, I really got into just the Flames and just getting into the sport specifically, really 2-3 seasons ago. So, and there really haven't been that many of these memories for me. There was definitely Game 6 against the Canucks in 2015. That's still probably my most favorite game ever that's ever happened. That Game 6 just holds a close place in my heart. That's definitely one of them. But again, these kinds of memories don't happen often, and just this game probably going to be one of those big memories that one of those games that just really holds close in my heart. And then, this is just the first really big moment I've had. When I've really, really got into hockey and understanding hockey. And therefore, this game meant a lot for me. And Gaudreau's going to go. Gaudreau's my favorite player on the Flames, and that's not even a competition. And then him scoring, it was just this nice moment. And I was like so relieved that the Flames won the series. I was like, oh my god, we actually won the series. So yeah, really sweet feeling. No doubt about that. And so, and I still watch that goal over and over again, and then just selling the team goes crazy. Ottinger is like on the verge of tears. Jamie Benn, he's like, oh no! It's like something just like he just got stung pretty hard on that play. And then Klingberg on the bench, they showed that next, and he was just like, just stunned and silenced. Like, I can't believe this happened to me. Regardless, that's just me kind of like sadistically, maybe meanly finding enjoyment out of the suffering of the Dallas Stars. But I mean, okay, it's mean. I get it. I agree. It is pretty mean of me, but I'm so happy. But the Flames won, and that was probably the better part of it. And then after, like, what a moment. And then the entire team starts selling. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, this is just so good. And that goal, like, sharp angle. Gaudreau's trying to say, like, in the press conference afterwards that he was trying to just throw the puck on net. I'm like, yeah, right. Oh yeah, of course we're aiming for the sharp angle shot, Johnny, because he scores like that a lot. Oh my god, and what a goal! And obviously Ottinger couldn't stop that. Ottinger, sorry, like I keep calling him Ottinger. It's Ottinger. Kept stopping that. God, that guy is crazy dumb, crazy stupid good. 64 saves, like only, and then we get 3 on him. Like that's crazy. Like that's still gonna do some quick maths. To do the save percentage calculation for that game, because just to get the exact save percentage that he had in that game. I can probably find it here in statistics, but let's calculate it. So, stopped 64 of 67. That's a 955 save percentage. Like, this kid's crazy, right? Like, I hope you all realize that. Yeah, a 955 save percentage. Like, in a game you lose and you allow 3 goals to have that kind of save percentage. In a game you face 67 shots. That's insane. Obviously Markstrom, great on the other end for us as well, of course. Made some really big saves. Especially that one in overtime against, I think it was Pavelski, who was on a breakaway, and not a breakaway, but for a rush, and he was more kind of all alone with Markstrom, and Markstrom made a nice save, just like calm save, right? He's always comfortable in the crease, and he's made those kinds of saves all year for the Calgary Flames, and that was really awesome for him, and just such a goal, man. What a goal! And I can still probably watch that goal a million times and just be like, oh my god, like what a moment, right? Yeah, and this has got to be one of the most iconic goals in Flames history. Up there with, I would say, Jelena scoring the goal against the Detroit Red Wings, that OT winner to win the series. The OT winner in the round 1 that year against the Canucks, Game 7 OT winner that he scored as well, I believe. Yeah, it was Jelena. That one, those two, I would say it's up there with that. Those two. Even I think this definitely beats out the Johnny Gaudreau game-tying goal against Anaheim in Game 3 of round 2 in 2015. Right, it was like 2-1 and like 30 seconds. Gaudreau scores, the entire Saddle Dome explodes. His Selke, and then that's still an iconic moment. And then they even asked, one of the questions that Gaudreau got asked in the post game was, "You've scored a lot of big goals in your NHL, in your hockey career. Like, where does this rank?" And he was like, "Is that even a question? Of course it's this one." Yeah, so like, of course it's this one. No, but seriously though, this was just such a big moment. Yeah, obviously. Oh my god, what a play. And then obviously, just not just that, I think one of the best parts about it was Sean Monahan waiting in the hallway for him. After he came off, like, he got a quick interview, he was named for a start, it takes a little lap around the Saddle Dome, and then he comes back in, and there's Monahan just waiting for him. And that was also very nice. That was also a very nice moment to see, because just to know that Monahan's still a big part of this team, and whether he stays or goes in the offseason, and I'm sure this is going to be something I talk about in way more detail, probably in a future podcast, because I'm not really thinking about that right now with the playoffs going on, but, like, he's still a big part of this team, Sean Monahan. There's a reason he had the A. Oh, we also talked about the A for Johnny. Yeah, there's a reason he has the A on this team. There's no question about it. He's a leadership player on this team. He's a hard worker. He's not lazy, and a lot of the struggles he's been having, it's really not even his fault. I would say it's injuries that are coming, that are, really impacting him right now. And so, just to see that moment, just such a nice moment, right? Like him and, they've been line mates for so long. They've had insane chemistry in previous years, and I'm sure if Monahan was still at it without the injury problems that he's been having, they would still be like they still might be playing together and still might have that same chemistry we'd be seeing. Yeah, just to see that's such a great moment. And I've seen that clip over and over again as well. I also saw on Twitter that Gaudreau's mom, Jane Gaudreau, I believe that's her name. She made a little video saying that she cried a lot over the Game 7 game, about how Johnny Gaudreau got to wear the A that game, as well as how he scored the OT winner. But she said she cried the most when she saw Sean Monahan. I'm obviously paraphrasing here, but when she saw Sean Monahan hug Johnny Gaudreau there. So just a special moment, just a nice moment for me. And the first thing, like, they just kind of still on the game, like, they showed from the ice, like, level, just from Monahan. I'm like, oh, that's Sean Monahan waiting in the hallway for the boys to come down in there. Yeah, beautiful moment. Yeah, just felt a great game to see. What a moment that was. Let's talk about the rest of the game, though. Let's talk about Johnny Gaudreau getting the A first, because that's a pretty big deal, I think. Johnny Gaudreau gets the A, and still, like, they were still kind of like, they were all coming out for, like, warm-ups, and Gaudreau was just there, and they were showing him skating around a little bit. And I'm watching this with my brother, and he's like, yo, Johnny Gaudreau has the A. I'm like, yeah, you're kidding me. He's a great player, but he's not very much of a leadership player that you'd probably give the A to. And I mean, I know that. I do agree that he's not the most leadership player, and I see the A. I'm like, yeah, right. He's already in the A. And then a few seconds later, I see him again, and it's like, oh my god, he has the A. I was pretty shocked. I was like, why would you give him? Look, and nothing against Johnny Gaudreau, of course. I just know he's not the most vocal leadership player on the Flames team, and I would have given the A to like Toffoli or Coleman or who else? Like maybe even Lindholm before I give it to Johnny. Because there's the other guys I think that just definitely deserve this maybe more than Johnny does. And Daryl Sutter was asked that, and he just said that, oh, you have your leaders on their team. He was next on that leadership list to get the A, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think this does make sense, and this is a bit of a point that goes back. I remember hearing about how Gaudreau, previously he wasn't that vocal on the team. Like when they're just talking in the locker room, he's not that vocal in the locker room. He kind of just stays with the flow, stays a little bit quiet. Sure, he's a leader out there in the ice, offensively speaking, but he's not necessarily like a team leader. He's not that vocal. And this year under Sutter, he's really began to show that. Like I heard on one of somewhere in the analysts talking on TV or on the radio or something, that Johnny Gaudreau become a lot more vocal. Like for example, they're talking about power play, like their power play strategy and whatever. Johnny Gaudreau will contribute to that discussion now. Like he'll actually be more vocal. He'll contribute to the team leadership wise. And I guess that's why he got the A, and he definitely deserves it. He's improved so much in his game. There's no doubt about it. And he obviously scored that goal, and that goal is going to go down in Flames history as one of the great ones, one of the greatest goals ever. And that's going to be cemented there, him wearing the assistant captain or alternate captain on his jersey as he scores that goal. But beautiful. That's really nice as well. So let's talk about the rest of the game, like from a more statistical, more of like a rational standpoint. 40 seconds in, and obviously I was very pessimistic going into this game, because after the Flames lost Game 6, I was just like, oh yeah, Flames are losing Game 7, there's not even a doubt in my mind. And even last podcast, I was really, really pessimistic about this. And what else to help fuel my negativity about the Calgary Flames than Jamie Benn scoring 40 seconds into it? Like, he just goes up, shoots it, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go, we're losing. And I just declared lost right there, and then the rest of the first felt like it was hell, even though it probably wasn't that much of a hell. At first, we got a bunch of chances and stuff, but then, and then the second period comes around, and I'm just so given up with this team. Like, I don't even have my jersey on. I'm actually editing one of the videos. I think it was last episode. I'm just like sitting there editing it up, getting it uploaded on YouTube while this game is going on. The second period, then Toffoli gets a tip, and I'm like, oh, nice job, buddy, right? Like, did something good, I guess, for once. Yeah, I was just me. Like, I was happy that he scored his first goal, but would I have liked him to score earlier? Of course, but he can't complain. He's been a solid piece for the Flames. Like, he's a character piece, and Sutter also talked about it. He's not only here to score goals and be like a good offensive player. He's also here for his character, right? His leadership abilities, his veteran experience, and just to be a good character in the locker room, like a good character role model in the locker room player. So that's fair. That's fair. And then it's like, yes, finally tied up. And I get a little bit more engaged in the game, right? And then, like, 30-some seconds later, Vladislav Nemesnikov just scores on the rush. I'm like, oh my god! You tied up, like, barely tied up, and then you just let them get one back. I was frustrated, obviously. And I was like, oh my god, let's just get back to editing this thing. I kind of slowed down a little bit here and there, just because I was like, well, I'm not going to experience this game again, like a game 7 that's this big. Probably not going to experience it. So I'm going to get back into the game, engaged in it, and then Kachuk scores. Like, Gaudreau just makes such a nice play, right? Gets all the defense on him. Kachuk just sneaks past them and gets pretty much, just all the time and space to get a nice shot off on Ottinger. And he scores, makes it 2-2. And then nothing happens after that. Like, no goals, no nothing. It's close, it's tense. I'm, on the verge of a heart attack. By now the video's uploaded as well. So I'm focusing more on the game. And then overtime happens. And so, like, it comes up and then overtime happens. And so I'm just, like, so nervous the entire time. I'm, like, literally feeling like I'm about to have a heart attack. Like, oh my god, I can't believe it's overtime. And I'm just so stressed out. And then every time, even like the last, I would say, 5-10 minutes of the third period, every time the Stars had the puck in the offense, so I just be like, alright, it's over, they're gonna score, we've lost the series. Me being very negative, I know, but I'm harsh on this team just because I have high expectations from them. Every time they make a mistake, I'll just be complaining about it. And you'll see, I'll talk more about my complaints as I talk about game 1 and 2 against Edmonton. Gaudreau and then it's so stressful. Like, Flames get so many chances, especially that one with Hanifin and Lewis, where Lewis had a really good chance, and then Hanifin pretty much had, he had a bunch of room to just put that thing away, and Ottinger somehow comes up and, just is able to, protect that puck from going in. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous the way that guy was playing. First time comes out, they're having a pretty good shift. They're sort of getting set up in the zone. Gaudreau from behind, Kachuk has it from behind the way, gives it to Gaudreau. Looks around for a second, then kind of comes up front, gives it to Lindholm, who gets a shot off, and Ottinger comes out to challenge, he stops it, and the rebound goes flying into the corner near the sharp angle, near the goal line, near one of the corners, and there's at least Jamie Benn, and then probably maybe even one or two other Stars players who are closer to the puck, and Gaudreau just beats them to it. They don't even try. It felt like they didn't even try to get that rebound. Gaudreau, picks the rebound up, just waits a second, just, fires that thing sharp angle and scores, and I was like, oh my god, what a beautiful goal. And I mean, obviously, Stars didn't try on that play, and they got scored on, which is pretty awesome. And then I obviously I watched this goal many times the day it was scored, it was multiple times after, the next morning. I watched it, a couple times just to take the whole thing in, taking the goal. And then I watched it again to see the Flames selling and their reaction to it. Then saw another time to just see the sea of red ignite and explode and blow the roof off. And then I watched it again to see the Stars' reactions. Now, I watched it once to see Ottinger's reactions, and then I watched it once to see Ben's reaction on the play. It was just, multiple times to see every element of this goal. But do check it out. I mean, again, you've probably seen it at least once. Do check it out. It's still, every time you watch it, it's just goosebumps. So, what a beautiful goal. What a goal. Yeah. Anything else about this game? No, not really. So now we head into Battle of Alberta. Next series. Here we are, Battle of Alberta, game 1, and I'm breathing hard because I don't want to see the Oilers. Who wants to see the Oilers? I get everyone wants to see the Battle of Alberta. Okay, this is good. I'm going to go in a bit of a rant here. Why does everyone want to see the Battle of Alberta so much? Who cares about the Battle of Alberta, Battle of Calgary versus LA? Who cares? Really, honestly, everyone's just oh my god, I can't wait to see the Battle of Alberta happen. What do you mean, bro? So that's what I'm thinking, and my point is, everyone's let's see the Battle of Alberta. I can't wait to see the Battle of Alberta. I'm who cares about the Battle of Alberta? At the end of the day, in my opinion, it's just another second-round series that the Flames have to win to move on to the conference finals against the Avalanche. It's not a big deal, whether it's Edmonton you face off, whether it's Edmonton Calgary, whether it's LA Calgary, whether it's Edmonton Dallas, whether it's LA Dallas. Who cares about having a Battle of Alberta? From a Flames standpoint, I would much rather see the Kings than see Edmonton. And obviously that's reasonable because they're a much better team than LA, and obviously want to face the worst team. Second round, right? But my point is, everyone's wanting the Battle of Alberta so much. I'm who cares? It's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, it's just another second round series. And I get it. I mean, I do get everyone's opinion. I think especially from the perspective of someone who's not a Flames or Oilers fan, they're a fan from maybe another team, and they're just watching this because it's going to be the biggest series ever. Because not biggest series ever, but a really exciting big time series. It makes sense. I do see it, but honestly, everyone's and they hear the radio. They're like, first Battle of Alberta in 31 years. I'm like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. It's just another second round series. But that's just my opinion, and I do understand. And if you have a different opinion, I'm not criticizing you. I don't want to criticize that opinion. I do respect that, but that's just what I feel when I see this. Like, it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. But regardless, we get into this one. I'm breathing. I'm literally just like, you know. Just in the high stress, my heart rate is probably like 130 going into this one. Flames, and then 26 seconds in, Lindholm's there. I'm like, oh my god, Lindholm has a lot of time and space. He should have scored. I'm like, and then I see like Smith's glove touching it, and then it goes, and then the entire field for so I'm like, oh my god, and I start freaking out, 1-0. And I just look at their defensive structure. They were like, they just let Lindholm have all the time and space to like get that bouncing puck even a little bit settled. It's still bouncing. Then he just puts that on goal. And Smith can't stop that, and I was like, oh my god, beautiful, beautiful. And then the Flames are right back at it, attack, and I was like, oh yeah, nice, that's what you want to see, right? You score one goal, you don't let off. And then Mangiapane scores, and he's just like out front, and I'm like, and then I think he had one chance before Mangiapane scored, he had another chance. I'm like, oh, imagine if Mangiapane scored there, he doesn't. I'm like, yeah, never mind. I wasn't expecting him really to score anyways, and then he gets another chance, he scores, I'm like, oh my god, it's 2-0 Calgary. And they literally, the first thing they show, apart from the Flames cheering, is like Koskinen and the bench. Like, hey, you're gonna switch him? You're gonna switch him 51 seconds into this? And I was like, and then they're like, no. And they keep him. Things do go a little bit back and forth. And then Brett Ritchie up against those guys. They just give the puck away. In the like Brett Ritchie aggresses. Really good play by him to be a little aggressive and get the puck back from the Oilers, and just in the zone just puts a weak shot on goal, and that thing hits Smith and goes in. And I'm like, 3-0, I'm freaking out, obviously, as every other Flames fan is, and the Oilers just look like, bro, when the Oilers also took a timeout, was that timeout after the 2 goals? I think it was 51 seconds in after Mangiapane scored. It's really awesome, and then Brett Ritchie scores, and they pull Smith. They pull him, Oilers get a little bit of momentum back, and McDavid scores. He gets so much damn time and space, and then he scores, and I just start saying this. Flames are gonna lose this game. Yep. I started declaring it right there and then. I'm like, look at us. We're not even putting any effort in, even though we're up 3-0. And my complaining was absolutely wrong. I get it, but still kind of valid. Everyone I'm watching go to it. Like my brother and my other family members, they're just like, just chill out. It's not that big of a deal. The Flames are probably still gonna win this game. They still have a 2-goal lead. And I was just still pissed. Like, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe losing the game. They get a power play, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're just gonna score like 50 seconds into this one. And then we get a power play, and I'm like, oh yeah, shorthanded goal for the Edmonton Oilers. I'd be surprised if I wouldn't even be surprised if there's 2 shorthanded goals they score. I was pretty negative, because I didn't want to see this happen. I didn't want to ever see kind of this a pushback from the Oilers. I just wanted us to dominate. That's what we do. 45 seconds into the second period, Blake Coleman scores. What a nice one. Just scrum and just scores. And then a little bit later, he makes it 5-1, and I started chilling out. I'm like, okay, you know what? I was a little premature complaining about this. It's fine. We're up 5-1. 4 goals, right? What could happen? What's the worst that could happen? They score 5-2. But right after, like on that same play, Zach Kassian just takes a bad call. He just pushes one of our guys over, and it's, oh, never mind. Oilers score, but the Flames get a power play. On the power play, Kachuk scores, just gets the puck in front, just bats it in. And I was like, alright, nice, 6-2. And then this is kind of where hell begins. 6-3. 6-4. 6-5. Third period. 6-6. Yep, and my voice, I'm quite intentionally doing that because that's how I was feeling during this experience. Look, Zach Hyman makes it 6-3. Back shot to let in from Markstrom, I get it. But, like, I don't want to put it on Markstrom again. Like, that happens, right? And then literally, a little time later, Zach Hyman scores again in pretty similar way. It was a little bit more of a scrum play. He had a little bit more time and space. And he scores again, same spot. I'm like, oh no, it's 6-4. And then I started looking like over at the people watching, like, hey, you see this? You see this? They're coming back at us. And then Leon Draisaitl scores on an almost 2-on-0, but it's more of a 2-on-1. He scores in the same spot, and everyone's like, oh my god, Markstrom's glove, it's his weak side. They're all gonna target there. I'm like, chill. People are too early to blame goalies. By the way, my opinion. Unpopular? Popular? I don't know. People are too early to blame goalies. People blaming Smith for his performance in this game. No, I probably wouldn't blame him because the Oilers' defense was not even there on all 3 goals. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the first goal. They just let Lindholm have all the time and space. They just let the passing play, the neutral zone come up to Lindholm. They do him all the time and space. The 2 guys who are trying to block Lindholm's shot, they can't do anything to get the puck away from him. he has time to settle down a flying puck, like a bouncing puck. And it's not even completely settled, but he still shoots that and it goes in. I would even say that those two defensemen were even kind of screening Smith, because they're probably covering Lindholm, so Smith probably couldn't see Lindholm that well either. I don't know. That's kind of the way I perceive that one. And then the second goal, dude, their defense is doing nothing to get the puck away from the Flames. Oilers' defense on the 2-0 goal. Right? They just let the Flames have all the time in space. They let Backlund have the time to send that pass up to Mangiapane in front, and they let Mangiapane tip it in. Just throw it in. And they give him time and space to do it, right? And that's kind of where my thing is, you can't just blame Smith for it. And the Richie goal, that's, I would say, a giveaway and multiple opportunities for the Oilers to recover, and they just don't, and they let Richie get the puck in the back of the net. You can't blame Smith for it. You can't. And sure, he let in all, I would say the Lindholm shot and the Richie shot weren't even that great shots, and he even got a piece of it, but they still went in. I would say that, but at the same time, people are too early to blame the goalies. People are too early to say, you know what, that was Smith's fault. You know what, that was Markstrom's fault. I think it's oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, it's the team's fault and the way they're playing. Sure, a goalie that's in a bad goal, but what about the rest of the team for letting that chance even happen, right? To allow that, to make that bad goal even go in, right? And that is my point with this. Everyone just going after Markstrom, letting in those 3 goals. He really closed it in the third, though. Yamamoto does get a chance to tie it up 6-2 to 6-6. Tell me, how does that make you feel? When it was 6-5, when the second period ended, I was just ready to lose. I was ready to, and I even was texting one of my friends who had only apparently seen the score when it was 6-2, and he sent me a message 6-2 Flames. We're destroying the Oilers tonight. It's something like that. And I told him, it's 6-5, buddy. And then I also said they're probably going to tie it up, make it 6-6 to start the third off, and we're going to be demoralized. We're going to be defeated. We're not going to win this game. We're going to let them take over after they make it 6-6, and they made it 6-6. And I was like, oh yes, they're going to take over now. And then just moments later, about a minute and a half later, Rasmus Andersson, who made a mistake on that Yamamoto goal to tie it up, puts one in for the Flames and makes it 6-7, and everyone in the Sea of Red starts exploding. I was pretty happy, but I was still like, come on, you shouldn't be selling. You need to have this lead. This is not something that you did, and good job for doing it. This is something you needed to do, and you should have done. So no need to sell and act like, oh my god, look at me, I just scored the game winner. Nope, because you shouldn't be in this situation anyways, to score a game, to be able to have to score a game winner. When the game at a point was 6-2, to score a 7th goal and call it the game winner, that's not good. No, not good at all. And then Tkachuk scores on a horrible giveaway by Draisaitl, who's offense, makes a bad pass, doesn't seem it's Tkachuk, then Tkachuk just takes it and scores. So on the breakaway, Draisaitl and McDavid obviously horrible defensively in this one. They played great hockey, but horrible defensively as usual. And then Tkachuk puts in the empty netter for the hat trick. Walt, or his dad, that's what they call him, Walt. Keith Tkachuk won't throw his hat for his kid, but fair. If I had a nice hat, I wouldn't throw it for a hat trick either. And that's game. That's game. How do I feel about this? Let's look at the team stats. Shots on goal, 28 for the Oilers, 48 for the Flames. Face-off was 53% for the Oilers, 47 for the Flames. Power play was 0 for 4 for the Oilers, 1 for 3 for the Flames. Penalty minutes, 12. Well, penalty minutes don't really matter. That's associated with power play. Hits were 23 to 22 in favor of the Oilers, surprisingly. Blocked shots, 14 to 9 in favor of the Oilers. That does make sense, though, considering the fact that the Flames had a lot more shots and a lot more shot attempts. Giveaways, 20 for the Oilers and 8 for the Flames. Yes, obviously, the Oilers had 20 giveaways, probably 2 or 3 of which caused for Calgary Flames goals. One thing I do want to point out, Draisaitl had 3 points, a goal and 2 assists, and he was still a -2, -2 and plus minus. McDavid had 4 points and he was a -1. Just shows you, not a good offensive game for them. Not a good offensive game for them at all. And for the Calgary Flames, right, just everyone in the plus minus. I would say the third line was pretty weak tonight. Dubé, Toffoli, and Yarncrow, they didn't play their best game, but obviously that happens. I would say Toffoli did have very much of a bounce back game in game 2, but we'll get to that. And yeah, that's sort of my thoughts. on this one. So just statistically speaking, Flames blow a 4-goal lead, and I was just upset about it, but they still do win the game. And honestly, I liked what the rest of this team had to say about it. Right, Chuck saying that it wasn't good enough. Because like, the first thing he said in the press conference, the post game, was just not good enough. Obviously, you can score 9 goals, but that's still, I would say, the worst game for the Calgary Flames in these playoffs, no question. So far up till that point, and even the worst game for the Calgary Flames all season, even. Maybe some of the losses were pretty bad, but this was still very lopsided. This was not a good game for the Flames. We needed a bounce back, there's no question about it. And even listened to some of the Oilers post games, and it sounds like they kind of didn't care. I'm sorry if it comes off this way. And I was like, the Oilers are the team that allowed 9 goals, and it still feels like the Flames care more about their performance and still feel more upset about their performance than the Oilers do. And I guess it obviously wasn't the case because the Flames came out of the door playing much worse, and the Oilers came out of the door playing much better in Game 2. We'll get to that. So what do I think about this game? Nice, good job, you won the game, but still a horrible performance. Everyone needs to play better in Game 2. For the Flames, at least, and that's not what happened. Actually, everyone in the sense that literally all players on both sides need to play better. And the Oilers did that right in Game 2. The Flames went backwards. Let's talk about that. Alright, let's look at some of the stats from Game 2 here. Shots on goal were 40-40 apiece. Face-offs were 33% for the Oilers and 67% for the Flames. I did not realize that. I didn't realize that there was a team that would actually come near the Flames 32% against the Stars in Game 6, I believe it was. That's actually insane. What? Wow, okay. I didn't know that, actually, so that's a pretty surprising thing. Okay, power play was 1 of 6 for the Oilers and 1 out of 5 for the Flames. Hits were 27-40 in favor of the Flames. Blocked shots were 17-13 in favor of the Oilers. The Oilers had 14 giveaways and Flames had 13 giveaways. So you can just see this game was a lot closer, except for the face-off. That's pretty shocking. I didn't realize that. Yeah. But okay. McDavid was 0% on the draw. How many draws did he take? It's a legit question, but I feel like Draisaitl takes a lot more of them. And Draisaitl was 42%, Hyman was 50%, Fogle, he doesn't take draws, I believe McLeod was 30%, Nuge was 17%, okay. And for the Flames, I'm assuming the face-off was a little bit better, okay. Well, I mean, Luch only took 3 draws, he was 33%. Backlund was 71%, Lubis was 100%, Lindholm was 63%, Dubé was 100%, Yarncrow was 63%, so Dubé's not a century, but I think he did take a draw or 2 in this one, but not bad actually. Okay, so that's probably the best part of this game, the only redeeming quality of this one. Why do I say that? Well, the game started off kind of similar actually to the game 1. 2-0 Flames, 6 minutes and 2 seconds into this one. 2-0, not bad, right? I mean, again, it's not a 3-0 game where we scored 2 goals in the first minute, but it's still pretty good, right? As I would say, the Stone goal was just a clapper from the blue line that gets blocked in front, and then he gets the puck right back, and he just puts another clapper on net and goes in. And then the Richie goal was just shows the unstructured D the Oilers had. The Oilers literally just let Richie just go to the front of the net himself and score. Beautiful play. So makes it 2-0. I'm hype. All the Flames fans are hype. And then they scored 2-1. And then I start seeing some similarities to Game 1. I'm like, oh no. Flames had a 2-goal lead, and then now it's 2-1. They had a 3-1, 3-0 the last one, and then it was 3-1. And I'm still a bit freaking out because the Oilers were playing much better than they were in Game 1. And I was like, okay, well, hold on to this lead, like get a goal back or something. And then they tied up, and then they don't. Make it 2-2, but it's called back. Which was, should have been called back. That's a debate I don't want to get into. Because I probably can't judge that as well. It's from a Flames perspective, that should have been called back. Because, I don't want the game to be tied, but maybe it wasn't the right whistle. That was the biggest complaint, but yeah, regardless, it was no goal. We're going into the second, and the Flames on the power play. They kill off a penalty from the Oilers. Flames got a power play to Foley with the second of these playoffs. Makes it 3-1 Flames. And then the Oilers come back. About a minute later, and McDavid scores. I was like, oh, no. Oh, wait, well, actually, it was... No. They scored and they got called back, and then McDavid scored again. And it was called a good goal. And oh my god, that goal was insane. McDavid's playing insane hockey right now, and I hate to say it. But it's true. He is playing really good hockey. And then on the power play, Bouchard gets all the time and space in the world, and he's just able to clap that past Markstrom. I'm like, oh no, it's 3-3. And it's just disappointing. Like, to see that the entire sequence, you're up 2 goals, and then you just let it go, and it's now 3-3. And again, it's trying to feel really, 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 really similar to Game 1 for the Flames. And, you know, that one it was 6-2, and then it was 6-6, and this one was 3-1, and it was 3-3. But regardless, like, still, horrible to see that happen. And then, I'm just going to talk about all the goals, and we'll get into the in-depth of the flow of the game. And then Zach Hyman gets a short-handed breakaway. I'll complain about this in a moment. Short-handed breakaway, and he scores. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. 4-3. And then the Flames get one back, and then it's called back. There was a lot. There was like 3 goals total called back in this game. That like the puck went in the net, but he just said no goal. And then Leon Draisaitl gets another breakaway, assisted by Mike Smith. Mike Smith like plays the puck out and goes straight to Leon Draisaitl. You know, none of the Flames can manage the puck on that. Like, can get the puck back and go straight to Draisaitl, who scores in the breakaway. Do you blame Markstrom? Maybe a little bit. But, I mean, again, for this kind of chance to even happen for Markstrom, to have 2 breakaways against him that put the game away, it's insane. 5-3. And we lose that game. I wasn't even surprised. We went 4-3, and I just declared a loss for the Calgary Flames. Because I'm just that negative. And why am I so negative? It's because I have high expectations from this team. Like, if this was last year and the Flames were even at the second round, I would have just been happy at that and not even complained. I would have been just really just like, you know, Flames can still get back in this one sort of mentality. Not this time. Like, I genuinely believe in this team. That's why I feel like I get disappointed every time something bad happens. And, you know, regardless, fair or unfair, whatever. Like, it's 3-1 Flames, and then they tied up. And how I felt about this game, oh my god, was that the momentum changed when it was 2-0 Flames. It got 2-0 Flames, and the momentum changed. I'm just going to take a look at the play-by-play here as well. We're going to go into the first. And, so, there we go. So, yeah. Let's go to the 2-0. So, you got 2-0. And then there was a series of penalties. Coleman roughing against Evan Bouchard. It's a minor. And then there was just, the Oilers had a bunch of chances, of course. And there was another penalty where Ryan McLeod was roughing against Toffoli, and there was a penalty on Toffoli. Like, just stuff. Like, tons of penalties. Some of them I would even argue that were unfairly called. That should have been Oilers' call and not a Flames call. And there's one specific one that I'll get to later. And just these series of penalties that just went ahead caused a shift in momentum. The Oilers got a lot more chances than the Flames did. And basically, the Oilers scored. And it was called. And the Oilers made it 2-1. And I was like, oh no. And yeah, of course it was oh no, because the Oilers scored. And that really shifted the momentum, right, of the entire game. Nothing much happened. They still had a bunch of chances, and that was pretty much it for the first. And so, like, that's not good, right? Still shifting momentum. A bunch of bad calls, obviously. But the second period begins. The Flames kill off another penalty, and then they get too many men on the ice. And Tyler Toffoli scores. Just a nice passing play, like Lindholm had a good pass. Toffoli Smith was down, and Toffoli doesn't make any mistakes. He makes a 3-1 Calgary. And then right after, Tkachuk takes an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Darnell Nurse gets... Oh, okay, I know what happened in this play. Sorry. So, like, basically, like, Nurse is coming up into the play, and Nurse is kind of going onto the bench after the 3-1 goal, and he, like, accidentally high-sticks Tkachuk. And that should have been a call right there, and that doesn't need a call. And I'm like, wait, that's still a call. You accidentally high-stick someone, that's still a call. And my point is, because later in this game, Stone would have accidentally high-stick Yamamoto, who started bleeding, which would be a 4 minutes. You called down, it was accidental. And it was still in play, but still, Darnell Nurse made a mistake. It was after the whistle. But that's still a call. Like, that's still a call. So basically, Tkachuk gets kind of pissed, and goes after Nurse. And then Toffoli also gets mixed in with it. And Nurse gets an unsportsmanlike against Toffoli, so we're playing, it's minors. Right there, so we're playing 4-on-4 hockey for a bit. And then, so basically, McDavid... So it's a challenge. Basically, yeah, Draisaitl scores on that play, and it's goal interference, and we win the challenge, and it's still 2-1. And then moments later, McDavid makes no mistake, and he scores on this one, makes it 3-2 Edmonton. Oh, sorry, 3-2 Calgary, gets a goal back, and I was like, oh no, come on. Seriously, it was 3-2, and it was close again. And then another series of just calls and momentum shifts, driven by, I would say, penalties, that resulted in the Oilers getting some momentum in place. And so, let's just go straight to that, the 3-3 goal. He was on a power play, and so the high sticking call happens. High stick double minor against the Flames, and Stone gets high stick. It was an accidental one, and then Yamamoto gets like 2 droplets of blood out. Fair. I saw the blood on his face. Like, I saw the blood in his nose. Like, you can tell he was bleeding. That's 4 minutes. I knew it, and I took it. Whatever. 4 minutes. That's fair call. And then what I found hilarious about this is Yamamoto has like 2 droplets of, not even like 2 drops of blood have fallen out of his nose, and he's like on the bench holding a towel desperately to his face because he doesn't want to lose so much blood. Come on, man, it's not that bad. And so basically it's 4 minutes, and then Evan Bouchard gets a slap shot. Just bad decision by Hannafin. Doesn't challenge Bouchard, instead makes a mistake on the play, and Bouchard gets all the time and space to score, and he shoots and scores. And I was like, oh no. Just felt horrible to see that one go in. For the Flames. But, like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's 3-3 now, and I was just pissed, because I knew the Flames were losing this game at this point. Momentum still in favor of the, momentum still in favor of the, oh boy, what am I saying? Momentum in favor of the Edmonton Oilers, right? And there was a bunch of stuff where, like, Hyman and Mangiapane went at it. They took calls, and it was just, again, more of that, like, momentum shift stuff. And then talking about, like, penalties and calls. And now comes the penalty that pissed me off the most, okay? So Coleman gets a nice chance in front of Smith, and he kind of goes at it, and then he kind of hits Smith and falls over, causing Smith to fall over, and he's kind of just down on the ground. And so Barry's pissed that Coleman ran into Smith, and Barry goes up, and Coleman just lying there, and he gives him a bunch of big cross checks on the ground. You just don't let your guy take the call. So Mangiapane jumps in, he starts going after Barry, and so Mangiapane gets a roughing call. And so Barry gets a roughing call against Mangiapane, so Barry and Mangiapane both go to the box. And I thought, why are you calling Barry for roughing? You should be calling Barry for cross-checking Coleman, because he was down. And they call Coleman for goalie interference. And I mean, obviously, we can find this play. I don't know if it's still around, but do check this play out. Coleman gets called for goalie interference for accidentally running into Smith, and that's the way I saw it. Barry doesn't get called for cross-checking Coleman multiple times, as Coleman was out on the ground. Barry does get a call for roughing against Mangiapane. Mangiapane gets a call, which I thought was fair, but Barry should get a call for cross-checking, and Coleman shouldn't get a call at all for interference against goalie, and this was ridiculous, and this call pissed me off the most. And then, pushing toward the momentum shift, the Oilers get a little bit more momentum out of it, and they got a power play to start the third, as he did to start the second. And so they go into the third. We kill it off, we get a power play, right? And we don't do anything with it. Obviously, typical stuff. Like, I'll just go straight to the next penalty, where, it's the real thing, where, the Zach Hyman goal happened, shorthanded. Warren Fogle slashes Rasmus Anderson, almost called him Randerson. And so, basically, like, oh my god, how do you describe this? Gaudreau makes a bad pass. Was it Gaudreau? I don't know who it was. It's everyone's fault. Rasmus Anderson can't control the puck. He gets a little too aggressive. And Zach Hyman just takes it away and goes on a break. And I'm like, oh my god, here's and he scores. 10 seconds into the power, wasn't like literally 10 seconds. It was 12 seconds into the power play. And I'm like, oh my god, the game's over. I just pretty much declared it. Yeah, it's over. Even though he was on the breakaway. Was it too negative? Yes, of course it was too negative. But rightfully so, because they scored, and I'm like, I was so disappointed. I was like, we still have the power play, but we just allowed a short-handed goal on a breakaway. I mean, again, you can't blame Markstrom, because he probably couldn't have even done that much on that play. So yeah, short-handed, just let that happen. I mean, I don't know, kind of just lost my train of thought there, but you just don't let that happen. And then the Flames do score. quote unquote, but immediately goes in and it's called back, and then that ends, and then basically Smith just gets the puck from behind, and it just backhands that out of the zone, and Zadorov can catch up to it, and who's there? Leon Draisaitl, who takes it, skates away, and scores. I would say kind of very similar to how Zach Hyman scored. I was like, oh my god, are you serious? Like, this should have been a 4-4 game, right? Even like a 3-3 game. That's what I think. Let's put it this way, right? Let's say the Oilers didn't score those 2 breakaway goals, right? Let's say the Flames prevented them and didn't let that happen. It could have been a 3-3 game. The Flames could have had a 4-3 lead, right? And we didn't let that happen. We let them take those breakaways. And sure, you blame Markstrom to an extent. He's not performing well enough. He should have stopped that, blah, blah, blah. First point is he's playing against two of the probably top 5 best players in the NHL right now. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, right? And you can expect, sure, Markstrom's playing, not the best, but you can't expect any goalie to play just insanely good hockey against them. No one. Especially considering the way McDavid's playing. Like, he's playing like Gretzky. People are comparing him to how Gretzky was playing in the playoffs, and that's, in my mind, that is, of course, that's 100% true. That's how he's playing. And regardless of how you put it there, Leon Draisaitl is really good as well. Like, what a goal scorer, right? You can't blame Markstrom. And obviously, for Markstrom to be put in those situations where he has to face 2 breakaways in the span of, under 3 minutes, 2.5-ish minutes, under 2.5 minutes, if he has to face 2 breakaways that span, you can't blame him. I would say, honestly, it's more of the skaters' faults. Their fault for letting those breakaways happen, for letting the Oilers get such a good opportunity, rather than saying, oh, it's Markstrom's fault for letting it in. And this is just a bad performance all around. It's Markstrom's. It's not. You can't just say it's not at all Markstrom's fault. Markstrom is a bit to blame here, but you can't just put all the blame on him. This was just a bad performance from everyone. That's what the message was in the locker room, I'm sure, for the game. That's what the post game seemed like. Everyone's to blame for this loss, and now we head into Game 3 to Edmonton, who've luckily been able to tie this series up at 1 apiece. So we'll see what happens. Of course, Flames haven't won a Game 2 since. Oh my god, when? 2004 sometime? And just yeah. Horrible stuff. That is my thoughts for this one, of course. Let's talk about just sort of what I think about for the next little bit for the Calgary Flames. Well, obviously, looking at their schedule, they've got Game 3 tonight, or I guess this evening. They've got Game 4, in the 24th, Game 5, which is going to happen now that we know, it's a 1-1 series. On the 26th, and then next Saturday, Game 6 if that happened, and Game 7 on Monday if that happened. So, could this go all 7? Of course, this could go all 7. There's obviously, but I'm hoping that the Flames just figure out a way to close this game out. What are my thoughts? Look, I think definitely Sutter needs to rely more on that top line for offense. I felt like they weren't playing enough this last game. Come on, let's take a look at some of the Game 2 ice times, right? Draisaitl played 23 minutes, 16 seconds. McDavid played 21 minutes, 30 seconds. They're relying on their top guys, and there's us. Gaudreau played 19 minutes, 5 seconds. Sure, a lot of that was short. A lot of the time, the Flames were short-handed, so that's why he couldn't be out there. Kachuk played 17 minutes, 17 seconds, and obviously, again, same thing with the short-handed. Flames played a lot of short-handed time, so he couldn't be out there for that time. Lindholm played 22:45, and obviously with the short-handed, he was in the kill for 4 minutes and 51 seconds. And obviously, just look at that. You gotta rely on those guys more to do stuff. Flames also have to stay out of the box. The call, refereeing was horrible in this last game. But at least, but you still have to stay out of the box. You can't just go, if they maybe take, a little bit of a check on you. You can't just go back and start, face washing them, right? And roughing against them. Because they're not going to they may not call the others, but they might call you. Just let them maybe take a little hit and just take the power play that comes with it. Don't let that power play go away. Don't let that power play be nullified by maybe taking another penalty when you're on the power play. Flames have to stay out of the box if they want to win this series, if they want to win chance. But look, it's pretty negative after that. Pretty much every time after the Flames lost to the Stars in round 1. I'm going to say it again here. I don't see the Flames winning this series if they continue to play the way they've been playing. The Oilers haven't been playing perfect hockey, but they found ways to win it. The Flames may have great starts, but after maybe the first little bit of the game, after you take a multi-goal lead, it's been the Oilers the whole time. Look, think about it this way, right? And this one we took a 2-0 lead to start the game, and still lost the game 5-0. And then you talk about game 1, okay? It was 9-6 win. Let's take away that empty netter by Kachuk, so that's 8-6. You take away the 3 goals of the 3-0 lead, the 3 goals the Flames scored to open the game. It's 6-5 Edmonton. After that point, they scored a 6-5, not including the empty netter the Flames scored. The Oilers could have won the game if it wasn't for that start. The Oilers are going to crack down on that. The Flames have to definitely take early leads and then defend it. Play well for the rest. Play that same way for the rest of the game. Play with that same tenacity. The Oilers are going to get better as the game goes on. You have to get better as the game goes on as well. You have to not only match that, but be better than that. And that's the thing for the Calgary. Just got to play better. Use that structure to your advantage. Don't give McDavid and Draisaitl even an inch of space. Because you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And I mean that quite seriously. You give them a little bit of space, they're going to take all that space from you. They're going to take that space and even more. They're just going to get past you and score. That type of players there, you have to be able to contend to that. And yeah, that's, I think, the key, obviously, here for the Flames. But it's going to be in Edmonton. Taking that early lead is going to really help silence the crowd, which is very necessary. So do that. That's one thing. But regardless, what do I think is going to happen? I think the Oilers are going to come out on top in this series, and I hate to say it, this just that way, but I think that's going to be what happens, unfortunately. So I am sort of just upset, but I think the Flames can get back, and they need to. It's still 1-1. There's still a lot to be done, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's my thoughts for the future, I guess. Let's talk about something a little bit more positive. Some more trophy nominations. Yay! Selke and Jack Adams nominees got revealed. Let's talk about the Selke trophy. The nominees for the Selke trophy are Elias Lindholm, Alexander Barkov, and Patrice Bergeron. Yep, Lindholm got nominated. Let's go. Let's review each one. So, I thought I'd go ahead and make a case for each of the Selke. Not really a case, but just kind of my thoughts on each one, I guess. On each Selke candidate. Lindholm, what is there to say? I've watched him every game. This year. Played such good hockey. 82 points in 82 games, 42 goals, 40 assists, a plus 61, which leads all 3 forwards in the Selke race this year. His face-off, where's the face-off percentage even at? I'm also going to go into another, just going to look at a bunch of stats here. So, all of these 3 guys were top competing. I think I am very happy to see Lindholm there, and I think he's deserving of the recognition that he's getting here with the Selke nomination. So let's take a look at just some of the face-off win percentages from players. There we go, face-off percentage. So, looking at least 100 face-offs taken, Patrice Bergeron leads the league with 61.94%. And then Barkov is 14th with 56.95%. And then, where is Lindholm at? Oh my god. Can't even find Lindholm. Okay, so he's not even top 50 in face-offs. Bro, that's not good, is it? Let's go to the next page. Just see. Their last Lindholm is 56th in the entire NHL with the face-off of 52.83%. So again, there's a lot of guys above 50. Reasonable, of course. Should he be better there? Yes, of course he should be. Lindholm is sitting not the best place, but but I also want to look at plus minus, which is another big one. Because Lindholm is one of the top forwards in plus minus in the NHL this year. It's not even a competition at this point. In plus minus, you just take a look at plus minus. Lindholm is second with a plus 61. I guess top 3 forwards are Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Tkachuk. And then you've obviously, and so let's take a look at, I believe Patrice Bergeron is a plus 26, and Alexander Barkov is, as I look for him here, Toronto's 11th with a plus 36. I mean, you just think about the plus minus, Lindholm is miles ahead of everyone in that category. Obviously, team success also plays a role in that. But yeah, that is what where we're at with that. Anything else specifically? No, that's kind of the main comparison points. Obviously, they're both good. They're both big penalty killers on their respective teams. And so, who do I think should win? Let's just get to the should win, because this to me is like just beating around the bush to see who wins. I want should, will, and want. Who should win it? I think Lars Lindholm should win it. He's been most all around. Sentry's been the most consistent forward out of these three. In my opinion, he's been just solid for the Flames. He's really just shown his abilities this year. He's playing on such a good line, and he's a big part of the defensive success the Flames' first line has had. He should win this. He should win this hockey. Who will win it? I'm gonna say that Patrice Bergeron will win it, just because I know face-off percentage is a big part of it, and Patrice Bergeron has a crazy face-off percentage this year. And that is unfortunate. Because I would really love to see Patrice Bergeron win. Because I would really love to see Lindholm win it, and Patrice Bergeron might just come away with it. He will win it. And obviously, who do I want to win it? I'm a Flames fan. I want Lindy winning it. So, that's where I'm at, in my opinion, with those. That category. So, that's kind of it. Let's get to the next one. Jack Adams. The Jack Adams Trophy award to the best coach. The nominators are Daryl Sutter, Brunette and Gallant Brunette from the Panthers, who came in to replace Joel Quenneville, and Gerard Gallant from the Rangers. This one I think is just no competition. Sutter should win it. He will win it, and I want him to win it. There's no question. Brunette and Gallant both did great jobs coming in for their respective teams, but come on. Sutter changed this team. Sutter took this team and made it completely different. Changed this team, changed every player, made every player better than they were previously. So, he took this team from a non-playoff team just to this unorganized team who was inconsistent to a team that can basically play the most defensive hockey out of any team in the NHL, in my opinion. And he should win it. That's kind of yeah, Sutter for Jack Adams. That's it. My thoughts on that. Last thing I did want to talk about, Stockton Heat and the playoffs. I do take a quick updated just take quick looks at it. So basically they beat the Bakersfield Condors in 3. We talked about the last episode. Colorado Eagles beat the Ontario Reign in 3, so they sweep each individually. So that's going to be Heat and Stockton Heat against the Colorado Eagles. A potential conference finals matchup, Flames and Avs. So we're seeing in the second round with the Stockton Heat and the Bakersfield Condors. Now we're seeing it. Now we might even see it in the next round there. To the division finals, I guess. Stockton Heat and Colorado Eagles. First game is May 23rd. So again, I probably won't be watching because I'll be busy with the Flames games, but they'll probably be eliminated by then. So, not by the 23rd, but by the time this series is over. Sorry. I'm too harsh. So yeah, that's really awesome. They should play against the winner of the Wolves, the Chicago Wolves in the Milwaukee Admiral series. Chicago won game 1-6-2. Okay. So yeah, Stockton Heat. Let's hopefully, I'm excited to see what happens there, and that's kind of the quick update on that. I'm happy. Flames are succeeding in the NHL, and the Heat are succeeding in the AHL. You couldn't ask for much more than that. Yeah. That is all for today's episode. There's not much anything else to talk about. As the clock ticks closer to game 3, my heart is slowly rising up. Hope you all have a great day today. Hopefully you do enjoy watching the game. Hopefully you do enjoy listening to the podcast today and taking the time to listen to it. So thank you so much for doing so. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good day, and I will see you next week. Maybe if I'm too angry, I may make a little bit of a recording of me ranting about some game. And then you might get to see it earlier. But other than that, hope to see you really soon. If there's any thoughts you have, any opinions, something I said you agree with, something I said you disagree with, anything you'd like me to talk about in future episodes, tell me in the comment section down below, and I'd be willing to talk about that in a future episode, or looking at the comment and see if there's something I want to talk about. The next episode is just giving it a mention. So, if it could be appreciated if you have anything to talk about, please do tell me in the comment section down below. Other than that, I will see you next week. Have a great day. Go Flames, go!